Hello everyone, I am Piyush. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will see how to file Indiana state taxes as an international student at Purdue. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. So the tax deadline is coming. It's less than a month away, and by now you should have already started your tax filing. If not, it's a great time to start. I have already made a video on how to file your federal taxes as an international student at any university. You can see it here. This video is specifically for students at Purdue who have to file taxes with the state of Indiana. Again, note that you will most probably get some refund if you have worked part-time, so make sure that you definitely file it and file it correctly. This video is only for educational purposes. I am not a tax professional. If you have any queries, you can definitely contact the Purdue administrator, or you can go with any agent. I don't prefer it because as a student who have just worked part-time, it's not complicated to file a tax returns. So just try to do it yourself. You can always mail the personal at the university, and there's also the video, the 37 minutes video, that you can see if you have any doubts. Similar to the federal tax, you have to print the forms, date it, sign it, and mail it to the respective address in order for the filing to be completed. Make sure you do both the federal as well as state taxes before the deadline to avoid paying any penalties. For those of you who don't know, you have to file two taxes. One is the federal taxes. You can consider it as a central government tax, and the other is state tax, which we have to file. If you did an internship in some other state, then you have to file taxes with two states. I have not done that, so personally I don't know how to do it. So this video only shows if you work part-time and earn all of your income in Indiana. For Purdue, there is a special program named viii, which is volunteer income tax assistance that is specially provided to Purdue students, which help you in filing taxes. When you go to this website, there is a special video. There is a 37-minute video. You can see the video and file the taxes simultaneously. But this video, I have tried to simplify it, and saving your time watching the 40 minutes video, you can just watch this video and see how I filled my forms, and I will explain you how I filled each one of the lines, so you can do it in the same way. I will share my screen and let's begin. Purdue and clicking on this link. So the first thing you have to do is, we need a lot of forms that need to be filled. So just go to state tax forms and download all these forms. Download all these forms from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are many forms, so don't get overwhelmed. We will see it how to fill each form one by one and step by step. Just make sure that you don't do any other thing while filing taxes. We should not make any error, so only see this video when you are alone and when you are ready to file the taxes. So download all these forms, and once you download it, go to non-resident alien info, and this is for the federal tax return, but we are filing the state tax return, so click on this link. It will ask you to log in. You can log in using your boiler key. So once you log in, first you have to complete the assistance survey. I already completed my assistance survey, so I couldn't record it from my account. So my friend gave his login to me so that I can help you all. Click on this. So it will ask you 5 easy questions. First is, are you classified as a non-resident alien for tax purposes? Is yes. Was all of your income in 2022 earned in state of Indiana? Mostly should be yes if you earned all of your income in Indiana. Are you under the age of 65 and not legally blind? Should be yes. So for the last two questions, you will require your form 1040 NR that you might have found from your Glacier software. So you can just open your 1040 NR form. In the fourth question, please enter your adjusted gross income, which is on form 1040 NR line 11. So you can just go to line 11 and enter the respective amount right here. And the last question is, if you have prepared your federal tax via Glacier system, please enter your federal tax return, which is again found on form 1040 NR line 35A. So you can just see both of these values from your form 1040 NR and enter it here and click on submit. after you complete the assistance survey, you have to watch this video which I told you about. You can't skip it because I made this video so that you don't have to watch it. I referred to this video and filled my form, so you can just go along with me. For the federal tax, the main form was 1040 NR, and for the state tax it is form IT-40 PNR. Before filing the state taxes, just make sure that you have filled your federal tax forms, because we will need some values from there to be inputted here, and we have to match some of the values from that form and this form. So you have to keep this portion blank because this is already given for the year 2022. You just enter your social security number, enter your personal details, your name, your address. Just make sure that this address should match the address that you filled in the federal tax form. Next, coming to this box, county where you live. If you are present in Indiana for the spring 2022 semester, you have to put it as 79 and this too as 79. If you were not present in Indiana for the spring 2022 semester and you came after that, you just have to enter it as 00 and 00. So I was here for the spring 2022 semester, so I will enter 79, and this is for the spouse, so you can ignore it if you don't have one. And that's it for IT-40 PNR form. For now, we have to complete other forms, after which we will enter these values right here. So next form is Schedule A, which states your income. You have to enter all the income that you earned during the financial year. So first, enter your name, enter your social security number again. There are two columns right here. The column 1 is for income from federal return that you will see on your 1040 NR, and column B states income taxed by Indiana. So suppose for the year 2022 you earned all your income in Indiana, so both these values should be same. For me, for the last year I only worked part-time and earned income in Indiana, so I will enter the same value as column A. So even if you have had an internship in Indiana, you can enter the same values, but if you had an internship in some other state like California and you did part-time in Indiana, so only enter the income that is earned in Indiana state. So in the line 1A, this number is only the addition of all of my income that I earned. I did 2 part-time, so I just added the 2 wages, and this is how I came up with this number. You can also match it with the federal tax return number. For me it was 4313.16, but just know that for the state taxes you have to round it to the nearest dollar. So suppose it is less than 50 cents, you have to round it backward, and if it's above 50 cents you have to round it to the nearest dollar. And you can enter all this income. If you had any, most probably you won't have any, so you can just keep it blank. The dividend income, for me last year I earned a dividend of $9, but there's a rule that you have to have a minimum of $10 in dividend income in order for it to be included in the tax returns. So if you didn't have any of these, you can just enter the line 1A, bring down all these. In the line 21, you have to just add from 1 to 20. So for me, I didn't have any income right here, so the total in 21 would be the same, 4313, and here also it will be the same. And go to the next page. So the amount here will be 1.000, which means that how much of the income that you earned in Indiana. Divide the amount on line 21B by 21A. So 21B and 21A is the same, so if we divide it, we get it 1. So note that this video is only if you earned all of your income in Indiana. If you had income in other state too, this video will not cover that because I earned all my income in Indiana. The section 2 is adjustments to income. Most probably you won't have any of this, so you have to leave the section 2 blank if you didn't have anything, and just move to section 3, totals. You have to subtract 35 from 21. So 35 is 0 and the 21 amount is right here. This will be the same amount that will be carried in the total, that is 4313. So that's it for the schedule A. We are done with one of the form. Just note this amount, or have a notebook handy with you, or type it in your notes. Write it as schedule A total and write this value right here in the box 36B. The next form we have to fill is schedule C, which is deductions. Again you have to start by entering your name, and your social security number. This is if you have rented a house for the financial year 2022, which most probably we all have. You just have to enter your address where you rented, the landlord's name, that might be any management company such as Launch, Alight, Evergreen, Vida, or anything else. The only thing to note is that if you lived on campus or you lived with any NGO, that might be churches or any foundations, this deduction is not applicable. So you have to make sure that you stayed with some for-profit management company and enter the amount of rent paid and the total number of months rented. In the line 1 you have to enter the minimum of 3000 or the amount of rent paid. So for most of us it will definitely be above 3000, but 3000 is the maximum amount that you can enter. So if it's 5000 or 6000, you cannot enter that, you have to just enter 3000. If it's less than 3000, suppose this is 2500, then you have to enter 2500 right here. But for almost everyone it should be 3000. You just check how much rent you paid for the financial year 2022 and enter this amount. Process is all smooth if you had a 12-month lease. If you had a 12-month lease, it's very difficult to stay under 3000. You will definitely cross the 3000 limit and be able to deduct the 3000 limit that is applicable on the Schedule C. But what if you had 2 or 3 subleases in the year 2022? I had a similar case. I had 2 subleases, 7 months in Alight and 5 months in Launch, and unfortunately none of the leases crossed $3000. For me in Alight, the total rent was $2830, which is $70 below the threshold limit, and I wanted to make use of the whole 3000 deduction that is available to us. So I mailed the PURDUE at their email and asked them what should I do in this case, because I don't want to lose out on the deduction. So they told me that as in the financial year 2022 both the addresses were in Indiana, I can enter 3000 as the amount. The only thing you can do is you just enter one of the addresses. So I stayed in Alight as well as Launch, so my total rent at Alight was on the higher side. So I will enter the address and landlord's name and address as Alight Apartments, and I will enter the rent as 3000. Note that it was 2830, but I'm entering it as 3000 because in total I paid more than 3000. But in order to claim the deduction, I will enter Alight and I will enter the rent as 3000 and the number of months rented as 7 months, and I can claim the whole 3000 deduction in this. So you can do the same. It's not wrong because we paid more than 3000 and by law we should be eligible for this 3000 deduction. You don't need to put both of the addresses as they mentioned in the email. I emailed them and they told you can put either one of them. Now let's get back to the video. After entering my name and my social security number, I will enter the Indian address where I rented, and then the landlord's name and address. So the total rent for Alight, as I mentioned, was $2830 for me, but as per the mail I will enter 3000 right here so I can claim the whole 3000 deduction, and the number of months rented will be the same as that for the lease, that is 7 months. And here I will enter the lesser of 3000 or the amount of rent paid, so it's equal. I will just enter 3000 right here. And scrolling down, this is just for property owners if you owned any property in Indiana, otherwise you can skip it. You can just skip everything, move to the line 12 and add 3000 right here. Again, in your notebook or in your mobile notes, write Schedule C total and write this amount in line 12. The next form is Schedule D, which is for exemptions. Again, you have to start by writing your name here and entering your social security number. So if you are married filing jointly, you have to enter 2000, but if you are single, you just enter it as $1000 irrespective of anything. There's no condition to this, you just enter $1000 here. And if you had any dependents, you can enter it here, otherwise you just skip these boxes. Again, this shows you were 65 age or older, so you can just skip the 4th line too and directly move to the line 7, where this is simply the addition of all this. We don't have any values in these boxes, so the total will be $1000. In the line 8, enter the number from Schedule A. If you remember, we just divided the amounts and we had 1.000. You have to multiply line 7 by line 8, so 1000 into 1 will be 1000. So your total exemptions in the line 9 should be $1000. Again, remove your notes and write schedule D total as $1000. Next form is schedule IN-DEP. This form is only if you have any dependents. If you don't have any dependents, you don't need to fill this form. You don't need to send this form to the department. You can just delete this file. The next form is schedule F, which shows the credits. This is an important form because this will dictate how much refund you would probably have, and have a calculator ready with you because we might need to add some things. Again, enter your name, your social security number. The first line shows Indiana tax withheld, so this is when you will need a W2 form. If you had only one W2 form, then it will be easy, you just have to enter the same values. But if you had multiple W2s, you have to add these values from your W2s. I had two part-time in the financial year 2022, so I just went to my W2 form. I checked the state tax withheld from my W2, so I added the state tax withheld from my first W2 as well as second W2 and entered the amount here. Similar, the second line is county tax withheld. You can find it in your W2 and just add the county tax that was county or local income tax that was withheld from your form. You can find it in W2. So if it's only a single W2, that will be easy. If you had multiple W2s, you just have to make simple additions and add the values. Again, we won't have to fill any of these from 3 to 11. So just move to line 12, which is again simply the addition of all of these. So you just add these two values. It is, for me it is 139 plus 55, which comes out to be 194. Again, remove your notes, write schedule F total and enter this value in the box 12. So the next form is schedule H, which shows the residency information. Again, you have to start by entering your name and entering your social security number here. This is just an example to show how to enter this. So here you just have to enter your state of residence, that is IN, Indiana, date from and date to. So I was here for the whole financial year 2022. So I entered the dates as 1 January till 31st December 2022. If you came in the summer or fall semester in the 2022 year, you can enter the respective dates here and select yes, because we are filing the tax return with the state. So take this box. This is only for spouse, so you can ignore it. So moving on to section 2, in the first box it asks, are you filing a federal income tax for 2022? Yes, we are filing it, so you have to tick this box, yes. Don't have to worry about any of these. Again, you can just read through that, but most probably you won't have to enter anything from here. The next thing to see is the line 6. You have to enter your daytime telephone number and your email address right here. Again, this has to be ignored. We don't have to fill anything from here, so just ignore this thing. And that's it for the schedule H. So now we will come back to our main form, the form IT-40 PNR that we started with. Filled till this boxes. Now coming to the line 1, you have to enter the schedule A total that we wrote in the notes. So take out your notes or notebook and enter the total from schedule A here. We don't have the schedule B, so moving to line 3, you just have to add this, which means the same amount. Enter the total amount from schedule C, that was 3000 for the renters deduction. So the next line is just subtracting line 4 from line 3. So just have your calculator and subtract the value and write it here. In the sixth line, enter the total value from schedule D, which is $1000. Coming to the line 7, you have to subtract line 6 from line 5. So that means this value minus this value, which is 313 for me. So the thing to note is that if you have a negative value right here, if this minus this is giving you a negative value, just leave it blank. You don't have to proceed further. Only if you have a positive value, you enter it in line 7. Again, the line 8 and 9, make sure that if the answer is less than 0, you have to leave it blank. Only if it is positive, you have to enter the value. So for line 8, you have to multiply this value buy 0.0323, which is $10 for me. Just make sure that you round it off, don't put any decimal numbers right here, round it to the nearest dollar. So after filling this value, you have to go to another form, that is schedule CT-40 PNR. This is a schedule for the county tax. Again, you start by entering your name and your social security number. For line 1A, in column A, you have to enter the value from the line 7 in IT-40 PNR that we just calculated a few moments back. Enter that value and enter the county tax rate from the chart on the back of this schedule. So if you remember, we entered the county code as 79, so we can just go to the second page and see 79 here, that is Tippecanoe County. The rate is 0.0128, so we will enter 0.0128 right here. For the third line, we will just multiply line 1 by the rate on line 2. So we will multiply this by this, which gives me a value of 4. Again, make sure to round it off to the nearest dollar. We don't have to fill the column B because this is only for spouse, so you just have to fill these 3 values. Again, these boxes can be ignored. The 4, 5, 6 are not applicable for us. So for the line 7, we have to enter the same value as 3A, and we have to take this value and write it on the line 9 on form IT-40 PNR. So let's go back to that form. So we are back to our main form. As I mentioned, we have to take the value that we just calculated and enter it right here in the county tax, which was $4 for me, so I will enter 4 here. Other taxes, you can keep it blank, and the 11th is just adding 8, 9 and 10. So we have 10, 4 and 0, so we will just add it up and write 14 right here. So this is the total Indiana tax that I am liable to pay. Then I will move to the next page. Moving to our notes, we will enter the credits from schedule F, and for me it was 194, so I will enter that. We don't have any schedule G, so we will leave this blank. The 14th line is simply addition of 12 and 13, which is 194. For line 15, enter amount from line 11, that is $14. For line 16, if line 14 is equal to or more than line 15, subtract line 15 from line 14. So we will just subtract this value from this value. 194 minus 14 gives me $180. Note that if it is smaller, skip to line 23. So if the value is negative, you can just skip this part, or else you can deduct this from this and write the value right here. Enter donations from this schedule. We don't have any, so leave this blank. For the line 18, subtract line 17 from line 16. So there is nothing out here, so the line 18 will be $180. The line 19, we don't have to put anything, you can just ignore it. The 20 also, we don't have to fill that. So the main line, that is refund, the line 21 is line 18 minus all these lines, so we don't have anything right here. We will just enter it as 180. This is the amount that will be refunded back to your account, and this is the amount that you overpaid to the government, so you will get it back when you fill the forms and complete the tax return. The next line is simply the information that you need to enter for direct deposit, your routing number and your account number, and select the type as checking account. You can leave this box as blank. The lines 23 to 26 are only if you owe the government, so if you got any negative value right here, you can just skip this line and move to this part to know how much you owe to the department. But most probably, if you work part-time as an international student, you will get a refund, so you have to leave this part blank. And that's it for the forms. Now just make sure that you print it, sign it, date it and mail it to the department before the deadline, and you are done with your tax filing. Congratulations on that. So after you are done filling all the forms, again go to purduevita, go to login, and when you log in, there will be 3 options. Now go to the complete or post assistance survey. So when you open the post assistance survey, you will need your IT-40 PNR, so keep it open side by side so you can enter the values properly. The first question is enter your Indiana refund. You can find it on line 21. So let's go to line 21. It is $180 for me, so I will enter the same amount right here. The second question is enter your Indiana state income on line 1. So I will go to line 1 and see this form as 4313 and enter this amount. The next is enter your Indiana state deductions, which is on line 4. So on line 4 it is $3,000, so I will enter that amount, 3,000. Then enter your Indiana adjusted gross income, which can be found on line 7. So line 7 is 313 for me. I will enter 313. Please enter your state income, which is on line 8. On line 8 I have $10, so I will enter $10. Then enter your county tax, which can be found on line 9. So I will enter $4 right here. So just make sure you have entered it correctly. You can go through it and then you can press on submit. So that's it for your state taxes. Compared to the federal tax, the state tax had a little more forms and you had to fill in a lot of values and adding and subtracting, but it's just the basic calculations, and it was, as you saw, it was not difficult. We just filled all our forms in very short time. So just make sure that you print all of these forms, sign it wherever required, date it and mail it to the address stated. That's it for your taxes for this year. You can see my federal taxes video and see this video and you're all good to go. There's no more tax filing to do and you will get a refund. I don't know the time frame, but I hope it gets credited as soon as possible. Thank you again for watching. Like, comment and subscribe my channel if you found this video useful. Share it with other people at Purdue who might find this useful. Thank you again for watching this video. Until next time.